you want a statement?
Oh, no.
No. Questions for Coach Painter?
Matt, would you talk about the difference between the original Brad Underwood defense and what he's doing now and how they've improved on that level?
I don't know. I haven't done a study on it. But when you play with those two big guys, and that's what obviously we had Haas, Hammonds, and Swanigan all at the same time, and it takes you out of, you learn and grow as a coach and build as a coach without big guys. You just don't end up at a low to mid-major school and have 7-footers. And if you do, the 7-footers are normally not very good. And so you build, kind of your philosophy and who you're around a lot of times with more interchangeable pieces, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", type combo forwards. And you might get a center here and there, but when you want to play them both together, those guys aren't going to be able to take passes away. They just aren't. And so you got to be able to clog the defense, and those other guys got to help them to a degree. So it's just, I talked to him about it before the season. I learned a lot with Isaac Haas. I learned a lot in trying to help him. I learned from him just because I'd never coached somebody 7'2", 300 pounds that was like him, with size 22 shoes. And, he couldn't make sudden movements. If he made a sudden movement, he couldn't make the next play. So trying to keep him compact, trying to keep him stationary, so then when he could go to rebound or go to get a ball, he could be able to do it. So I think it's a process when you're learning, especially, I think he's got a good complement, especially if they can shoot the ball well, is because they do have quickness and athleticism to go with size. So if they can get a balance, like they get a balance tonight, Griffin makes some shots, who had, he was the best player on the floor. It really helps things. But in terms of their defense or whatever, he's a great defensive coach, no matter who's out there or what style he wants to kind of go with. But when you have those guys that can hawk the basketball the way they do and keep the ball in front of them, and then you can load things up with that size, it's a good start.
We're here to left.
Why was it so hard to score?
Our inability to make perimeter shots has, really hampered us on the road. And I don't think it was, you watch a live game and you want to think that you had quality shots. I think we have quality shots from three. I'll go back and watch the tape and we'll see. I think the frustrating piece is when you don't make free throws and you don't make layups. And now you're allowing second chance opportunities. So if you look at their score and you would limit their second chance opportunities, our defense wasn't that bad. And then just the morale of our team just drops when you're missing, some point blank layups or you're missing free throws and things of that nature. But, we'll go back and watch the tape and we'll see. Obviously, if we couldn't shoot and we didn't have guys that couldn't make shots, then we wouldn't make them at home. That'd be the whole thing. We got to just keep working and try to get things figured out.
Jeremy.
Obviously, if I had the answer, we wouldn't be 3 for 17. Right? Yeah, I don't have that answer.
Matt, you've had a lot of great guards who get into people.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Frazier didn't start his career as a great defender, but what have you seen from him, evolution? Because he obviously bothered Stefanovic.
Well, he's the guys that normally come into your program, they come in for minutes and they come in to play and they come in to shoot, and then they originally grow into playing to win the game. You can see he's doing a lot of little things to help his team win, and he's not scoring as much, but he's still the same threat, at least in my opinion. Obviously he's had good games against us, and he's a competitive kid. And his ability to play defense, his ability to use his quickness, like tonight, it's not that big a deal, but it is a big deal. He plays 33 minutes and doesn't turn the ball over. You get 2 or 3 people that handle the ball all the time, they won't turn the basketball over, and you have good size, and you got a legit first team, second team, all conference type guy in IO to go along with that size. It's pretty good. So guys kind of finding their roles. I just talked to our guys about it. Everybody runs, rebounds, and defends. That's a constant. Like every game, I don't care who you are. Play as hard as you can, play as tough as you can. And so I think, Trent's, he's learned that. You learn that. And it's hard. When you have some struggles, now it's, it means something. Those guys want to get to the tournament, and that's what I told our guys. We've played some teams, here in the past 3 or 4 weeks, and, they're playing like they didn't go to the tournament. We're playing like we went to the tournament. You still, I don't care if you go or you don't go. You got to have that hunger. And right now, I thought Illinois just played harder than us, outcompeted us, and Trent was a big part of that.
Right here.
So with about 3:30 left or something like that, you sat down next to Travion for a while to talk to him for a couple plays. Just what were you trying to get across to him there?
Just to understand, the onus falls on you. You know what I mean? As an individual, like, we lost today. I'm the head coach. The onus falls on me. But as a competitor and as a player, the onus is on you. Don't look to the refs or don't look to your teammates or don't look anywhere else. Just be a man about things and just take it on. Just, I got to get better. Even when you're successful, that's what, like, young people, when they're successful, success messes with them. And just, hey, we won this game, but I got to get better. We lost this game, but I got to get better. Just trying to get that mindset. He's a really good player. He's not consistent, but he's a really good player. He can rebound, he can pass, he can score on the block. Just trying to get him to, to understand those things. He gets frustrated and just trying to kind of make sure he knows, if you want to get better and improve and be that consistent player, you're going to have to get yourself ready and play better than he did. It wasn't just on him. We didn't have anybody that played well.
Here to left.
I know you were worried about Kofi on the offensive glass, but I think 11 of their first 21 came on second chance points, and
Correct.
It wasn't him doing it.
Correct.
What do you chalk that up to? Was that the effort you were just talking about?
Well, we're going to double team those guys. So we double the post anyway. So the one thing we wanted to do was limit the free throws. We did. We wanted to limit those two guys as offensive rebounds, but we really harped on, Alan Griffin. I thought he was great. I thought he was the best player on the floor. I thought he played harder than everybody else. And those 6 offensive rebounds that he got were huge. And just trying to bottle up those guys. Kofi played for an AAU team that we got a commitment from, and so I've watched him a lot and, seen people not throwing the ball in AAU and, not utilize him. And, you got to wait on those guys. You got to give them, they need time, and Brad's done a great job with him and done a great job getting him the basketball. And Georgie does a great job on the high-low feeds, and so we wanted to play off of Georgie and live with his perimeter shots, but not let the ball get in there. So from a coaching standpoint, like, I'm pleased that you look at, they went 1 for 4 from the line. They're one of the best, rebounding teams in the country, and they obviously out-rebound us, but they get to the free throw line a lot too. And so we wanted to limit that aspect of the game, and I thought we did. We just didn't play harder than them. They just played better.
Coach, you switched up your lineup. You matched up with Williams and Harms tonight in the starting. Is that just a one-time matchup thing, and did you get
No,
what
we
you want from
played
that?
those two together. Yeah, and so, like, when we played Virginia, we played them, and then they started, and then Matt got a concussion in the Nebraska game, and so then Matt was out the Ohio game, and then Matt was out the Butler game. So then when he came back against Central Michigan, I just didn't start him, and he played about 12 minutes. And then our next game was Minnesota, our last game. And so I just didn't start him then. Then Matt had 26 and 9. But he had started before. I just wanted to bring him along. But, yeah, it was fitting because you like to match up. And that's what, against those guys, and, we could do a tutorial on how to go against them. Like, we've had great size. You got to flip it on them. Like, you got to match up to them, but then you got to be smaller and make them guard. But if we put guys in that can make threes and they can't make threes, we can't flip it on them. And then if they play harder than us, then, we have a real problem.
Matt, how much is, when you guys struggle early, not getting a spark off the bench, whoever you turn to try to find some offense,
Right.
How much is that maybe holding this team back a little bit?
Well, when you start off 11-0, it's, we lacked a spark from our starters. And but the game is, and you guys watch a lot of basketball, you've seen a lot of games start off there, and that can be the best thing for you. Obviously, you'd like to be the 11-0 and be up, but we've all seen that flip real quick. We did it other night, and we were up, I think, 11-3, and they came back and tied it, and I think it was 16-16. So that can happen and change a little bit. Guys can kind of play through the score a little bit, and it's a long game. But no, we didn't get off to a good start, and then we didn't get a spark, from anybody on the bench. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for someone to come in, and, Isaiah comes in right away and, makes a shot, and that was, a positive. But, we just weren't real consistent, whether it was our starters or our reserves tonight.
Obviously, one of those guys who comes off the bench in this game is Jihad. Obviously, he doesn't get much going at all. Just what are you seeing with him at this point? What's just sort of started to go south
you're
for him?
you're trying to find some things, and so obviously we were starting the two bigs together until Matt got hurt, and so we wanted to go back to that, and then trying to take out. You got to take somebody out. You can only start 5, and when you get to it, like, Io's so good. Like, I got a lot of respect for Io and his ability to get to the basket and get to his right. And I thought Nogel was a really good matchup for him. Sasha Stefanovic has really shot the ball well for us. And Eric Hunter might be our most consistent guy in that backcourt. So, like, dealing with that, and I liked Eric Hunter on Trent Frazier. I liked that. So, that matchup right there, and there's no way I was going to take, Sasha out of there. And, he's a guy that hasn't been consistent for us here. He's had a couple, individual good games, but he just hasn't been consistent. And sometimes when you do that, now they come off the bench and they play a little bit better. Sometimes not. And you're making decisions for Purdue. And sometimes with an individual, especially someone like him who's played in a lot of games and probably started in most of those games the past 2 years, but it's one of those things. You got to try to do the best thing you can to help your team win.
Can you make any sense of the troubles to finish at the rim, whether it was no gel tonight or pretty much whoever through the course of the season?
Yeah, sometimes you go on the road and your threes aren't going to travel, but if you're just missing point blank layups, you just got to concentrate and make a layup. That's a hair baffling, but it's not something that hasn't happened in the past. When we went to Nebraska, we had the ball at the rim. We played Butler. We have the ball at the rim a lot. We have the ball at the rim a lot tonight, and we don't convert, whether that's driving layups, pull-ups, point-blank layups, putbacks. You got to be able to make a layup.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.